Hello viewers, we are so excited to have you back with us on this episode of The Insight, brought to you by Oris Group Entertainment. On this platform, we'll bring you the best in entertainment, sports, investment, trade, tourism, anything you can think about, as long as it deals with our existence. Okay, on today's show, it promises to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I believe our guest and my co-host, we're all looking forward to this. I am Famous Aluya, and I'm not alone. My co-host is here. She is a singer, songwriter, a model, a brand influencer, Delisha. I don't know. I just want to keep calling your titles. You're super talented. I envy you on that. I wish I can do half of what you do.
Wow. Thank you so much, The African Sheikh. I'm so humbled, really.
It's my pleasure.
So, our wonderful viewers, welcome to yet another amazing podcast on The Insight. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Delisha Chetty.
And please join us to welcome our guest, Dr. Farah Oman and Mr. Xavier.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us in our studio today.
Join me today, viewers, to welcome Mr. Saeed Ademola Kazim.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here. I'm so delighted. I'm very.
So join me to welcome our guest to the studio. He is Mr. Kimiebi Imomotimi Ebienfa.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to our studios.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
To welcome Mr. Bernard and Mr. Latif
Welcome.
to the show.
Thank you. Some of us have the passion, to serve. In my background as a Christian, I have a mentor, the big man up there, whom we always refer as servant of servants. So once I follow him, I always want to position myself, wherever I find myself, to be a servant of servants. Therefore, from day one, when I landed in this soil of Qatar, and the community association was formed by some group of people, some of us decided to get ourselves involved, not just ordinary followers, but any capacity that the people of the community can also benefit from us.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mr. Latif,
Yeah.
tell us about how you got into community service.
Once again, good evening, everyone.
Evening.
I'm so happy to be here. So being into community service has been something that's been in me a long time, right from my days in schools. I've been throughout my days in secondary. I was the senior prefect, managing the affairs of the student in school. I moved into my university days, worked at the head of class reps for 5 good years. I was elected as part of the Ogun State Union, student union in my school. I was the president in my university days. So when I came to Doha in 2008, I looked at the way things are being run and how people are being interacting with themselves. So I started my community service from my Muslim community group, where I was part of the welfare team. I was part of the welfare team for the Muslim community group, where we looked at the affairs of the Muslims who are Nigerian Muslims in Doha, in terms of what they do, the job, and our family life, and all this together. And as we're going on, I came to know about NIDO in 2010. And I was like, if we are here as a Muslim community, that is bigger level for us to come together as a family. So I came in 2016. I contested for a welfare officer's position in NIDO, which I didn't win. I didn't win that period. And because of the passion in me, I really want to be part of this and give back to the community what they've given back to me, given to me. So I came back again in 2016 to contest, 2018 now, to contest for the position of the Assistant General Secretary, which, as God will have it, my General Secretary was, like my brother said, bigger opportunity comes, they decided to move on. So I assumed the position of Acting General Secretary for the whole 4 years. And then COVID came in. And then COVID came in, we were supposed to serve a term of 2 years, constitutional-wise. because in NIDO we have a constitution that says we have to do our election every 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So every 2 years, but COVID came, we couldn't have the election until after COVID. So we had 4 years a stretch together for that regime. So we served there together for 4 good years as General Secretary, acting as the General Secretary. And in 2022, I look at the bigger picture. If I have the passion to work this, I can't try to, as much as possible, to put more effort in it and put more effort in what I'm doing to see our time to the community service. So I contested, and we have our own election. And like I already said, NIDO Qatar, we have it as a body that is commissioned by law in our country. So we're the first NIDO organization in the whole of history of Nigeria who established an online voting system.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we have an online voting system where, as a member of the community, if you can be in your office and you can vote in the election. You don't need to sit down or crowd ourselves in any room. The voting day, you can vote wherever you are. Even in the play of football, you are playing your football, anywhere you are, at comfort of your home.
That's nice.
So we did the election in 2022, and I came in as the president. And then another re-election came in 2024, this year, because every 2 years you have to have an election. So I was re-elected again for the second time as the president of the company. So it's been something that's been indeed, and as long as it's community issues, as long as it's community effort, definitely I've been there, and I've been trying as much as possible to see what we can do around it. And even if we're going to leave it, like our brother said, we've been working together in the right line. We form what we call the African Unite Qatar. It's another group that we just formed together as African leaders to see how we can bring the African community together in one umbrella. Now we're having the communities separately. We look at the interests of the community as a whole in the African continent. So we just established what we call the African Unite Qatar. I'm the acting Secretary General for that body. And our brother, Mr. Ali Guma from the Uganda community is our president. So these are the journey so far of being in the community center.
Talking about the Kenyan community, the organization itself just started a few months before Corona.
Okay.
Actually, it was more or less like God had prepared us for Corona. Because were it not for the organization, distribution of food will be a problem because there will be no structure. So 2 months before Corona, we had the organization set up. And it really helped us during the time of Corona with food distribution and distress issues. Up to and including evacuation, because we had a lot of people losing jobs during that time. So we had to arrange for at least 3 flights for people to go before they were closing, because they were closing the flights. So we sent in 3 flights to Nairobi for that purpose.
That's a good
for those people who had lost some jobs here in Qatar. Value for the community, I think it has value. It has been supporting the community. I'm not saying we are 100%, but I can tell for sure it's work in progress. Yes, so the community initiative is worth exploring.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's work in progress.
Yes.
The most important thing is it's existing.
Yes.
So when we keep building, we keep growing, and the community gets bigger and people get more benefits.
Agreed.
So, Mr. Xavier, what would you have to say about your community?
Since 2013, we had what we call a Cameroonian diaspora in Qatar, and then along the line, the association did not go through because of some other challenges. Later on, in 2020, we had a brother who passed on here in Qatar, and then it was that more difficult for us to send him home. So there was a call, and then and a need of a community to be in place as well. So we gathered together and we put in place a community called CDCQ, CCQ rather, that is Cameroonian community in Qatar. So it was good, and we started to comfort ourselves. That was actually an eye-opening for us, like we cannot live in a foreign land without, a place where we all belong. And then from there, we pick it up to another, the same community, but that changed to Cameroonian diaspora community. Like it changed from Cameroonian community in Qatar to Cameroonian diaspora community in Qatar. And so far, we are okay. Everybody, I wouldn't say everybody belong, but we have a platform where either you visiting Qatar or you're residing in Qatar, you have to belong to. And then, we can also to build ourselves together. And even if we have, of course, other challenges which we may likely we will be discussing later on. But at the end of the day, that's how we got.
That's a good one.
National Human Rights Committee I think is established, not just, it's established in Qatar since 2002. It was just 2 years ago, they did the 20 years anniversary.
20 years?
Yes.
Amazing.
And in 2010, there was the law that was, made to actually form the structure of the National Human Rights Committee. That has a committee, it has the board of directors. Usually there are 7 in number, not less than 7, as per the Emir law. So since then, Qatar National Human Rights Committee has always been, more or less like the defender of the human rights in the state of Qatar, which is human rights is universal. It's from the international human rights. So Qatar is just like a state angle or a state sector of the global human rights that we know. Yeah, United Nations Human Rights. Yeah. I've been in the National Human Rights since 2006. 16
right?
Years. Yeah, 2016
yeah.
or 6.
Okay.
I always miss that number. So it's since 2016. Actually, we got there as community leaders. Then I was one of the executive council members of Nigerian Diaspora Organization in Qatar, right, which is NIDO Qatar. It's widely known as NIDO Qatar. So I was part of the executive council members then. And I believe Mr. Film was also with us then.
Yes, I was. I still remember, yeah.
So he was our financial secretary then. So we had some kind of memorandum of understanding with the National Human Rights Committee as to represent our own country, Nigeria, in that organization, as to look at the issues that are facing our community members. All right? So that's how we joined. And after because actually we were 3 that were, from the Executive Council that got to represent the community then at the National Human Rights Committee after the signature of the signing of the MOU with the National Human Rights Committee. And we met some other communities representatives there, like the Nepal community representative and the Philippines. And we have also the India. So majorly, the countries that are very well, with high population in Qatar, were the ones that are having a representation at the National Human Rights. So for us as Sub-Saharan Africa, like first of its kind actually, because towards the beginning of the World Cup, in the build to the World Cup, actually, World Cup was, assigned to Qatar since 2010. So there have been a lot of reforms towards making the communities here to be more comfortable and to be more, relaxed, and the way they, go about their business in Qatar. Qatar is not as it's projected out there.
Right.
Qatar actually, sees to accommodate different, people. So we get to be there at National Human Rights as representation or representing Nigeria at first. But with time, so we got to start handling all Sub-Saharan African countries that are also in Qatar. You have countries like Kenya, who have, quite some large population here. You have Uganda, you have Ghana, we have Cameroon, Senegal. Even at some point, we handle some other Arab African countries, the North African countries like Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, and all the rest. Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's 109 diplomatic missions.
109 diplomatic
Yes,
missions.
109. Okay. Out of that number, we have 12 consulates. Embassies are headed by ambassadors or high commissioners, as the case may be. For Commonwealth countries, we call them high commissioners, but for other countries, they are called ambassadors. But for consulates, the head of the consulates are called consulate generals.
Okay.
So Nigeria, we have consulates in Frankfurt, in Douala, Buea, Bata, Joburg, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Atlanta, New York, among others. Those are Hong Kong. So my first posting was Luanda, Angola, which was in 2017. And normally your first posting is for 1 year, but subsequently it is 3 years. Then after that, I saw my name for the embassy in Doha, Qatar. And as a Christian, initially I was like a bit worried that maybe to be my first time serving in an Islamic country. For language, I have no issues because I've had that experience in Luanda, Angola, whereby the official language is Portuguese. So I know that for language it not be an issue to me, but I was thinking about the religious belief and backgrounds and the rest of them. But I remember going to the market in Abuja trying to get this headgear, not for myself, but for my wife, because I thought all women are going to be properly covered. But to my surprise, we came here and he has no business using any of them throughout our stay. So I think from outside, people would think it's a very closed society whereby a lot of activities are restricted, but I think that is not the case. I think arriving in Doha in July 2021, I think COVID was just winding up then, and I came out of the airport, and what greeted me there was the extreme heat. I was like going in back again, but at least for the past 3 years, I'm used to it now, and I think the weather is, to me, is easily adjustable with the facilities at your own disposal, whereby you have air conditioners from your car to your house and public places that you go to. I think weather has not been a challenge, communication has not been a challenge because almost everybody here speaks English. So it has been a good one.
Now, there is one very fundamental point that I need to bring here. All organizations outside the country are under the patronage of the embassy. So the first point of call is actually the embassy. However, for those who come through the community, they will eventually be channeled to the embassy if the issue cannot be resolved at that level. And if it goes to the embassy, for example, and it is a welfare issue, the embassy directs that welfare issue to us. So there is a relationship between the labor attaché, who is currently here, and the community leadership. Sometimes a person goes there and they need food, for example. The embassy does not have a reserve of food, but the community has a way of getting food. For example, I can call someone in that industrial area now and tell him we have a problem with a group of people there and they need food, and they will send food. Not because I've given them money, but because they feel they have a duty to support. So we do that by virtue of the fact that we are humans and we have to help each other.
In our church, or where I do worship, our pastor do encourage, our Kenyan brothers and sisters to go to the embassy, and they actually have some programs related to education, very cheap. That is what the embassy does. Am I right?
Yes. We have some contracts with some institutions.
Even some BSc. So the embassy facilitates that to their people, and then they're enjoying it very cheap.
Talking about challenges, one of the challenges that the community members do face has to do with visa issues. Most of them, they come through agents or agencies, and after they've landed on the soil of Qatar, the agents are nowhere to be found, and then they tend to be stranded. So they turn out to be more or less, in quotes, liabilities to the society or the community. They complain of accommodation, no food, I mean, someone who has just arrived, in a new, land. He doesn't know his left, doesn't know his right. No one comes for him. So it becomes a big challenge. Okay, we have people who are already here, but they are facing challenges with their employment or the employers. Some are saying after they've worked for months, they are not getting their salaries paid at the right time. So these are issues that also, do come to the community leaders. There used to be issues like domestic workers challenges. People working in the houses as housemates and so on. They've also faced their own, special in quotes challenges. Yes. If we decide to go into that alone, it's so. For instance, that's domestic workers. Ghana, we have banned giving visas to people to come to the Gulf in general. Yeah.
Ghana,
but yes.
This was done by the government?
Yeah, by the government of Ghana. So people that find themselves in this industry are currently people who are already here. For one or two reasons, they are not getting jobs, and then they find themselves in there. There are challenges like, let's say, passports, renewals, and yes, when it comes to passport renewal, before then the embassy wasn't here. It was then in, Saudi
Arabia.
So they used to go through a lot of challenges. But until such a time that we had the embassy here, these sort of challenges has eased up. Yes. So the challenges are numerous. Yeah.
Well, as you said, the human right is to look at the rights, of people. That is why the body is there actually. But then we are specifically, to look at the issues of migrant workers, African migrant workers who are in Qatar, all right, as to the issues they face with their employers, right? And very often also we do have some issues of maybe family issues, the communities who are having their families here, because migrant workers with their families actually. So people come here with their families, and sometimes they do have issues so they come over to the National Human Rights. We listen to their cases, we take their cases, we document those cases, and we try to refer them to the relevant authorities. All right. In some cases, we get to handle the cases and resolve those cases right there at the National Human Rights, without having to, refer them to other government agencies or authorities that are, So mostly the cases are, as per the issue of labor rights, So the community, our communities here, they need to understand what are the labor laws, what are the do's and don'ts in Qatar.
Yes.
And so when they come here, and that's it. And that's what we have been doing.
Wonderful.
So far, so good.
I think the major challenge, documentation, getting the right documentation when they arrive Doha is one issue that Nigerians face. But that too can be divided into two. One, Qatar has an excellent recruitment process. If you are qualified, I've observed from my engagements and observation that they can recruit you from any part of the world. But so for those that are recruited directly by organizations, government agencies, has nothing to do with the documentation. They only have to come to satisfy that the document that they have from Nigeria, which the embassy normally authenticate, are original and they are genuine. That is what we do. But there's also a category of Nigerians that come, arrive Doha, then will now try to get the right documentation that will qualify them to secure employment here. To that particular category now, embassy have to assist them to get their document, still do the authentication, as the case maybe do the legal work for them. Then also advise them how to go about the recruitment process. For example, like doctors, nurses, you can't just leave Nigeria because you're a graduate, then you come to Qatar. Different countries have their own rules and regulations, have their own requirements for recruitment. So there might be, you are a graduate, fine, but there might be certification that you have to obtain before you can be employable. So those things are relevant. So we guide Nigerians on how to go about them, how to get the necessary qualification and certification. Qualified, fine, but certification before you can be employable and how to go about where to reside. If, for example, you're a first timer, which areas are the eyebrow areas? Which areas can you get Nigerian food from home? Sometimes people will complain that we have issues about eating our Nigerian food. So you guide them where to get.
Don't even start the jollof rice
authentic
thing.
Nigerian jollof rice.
Don't start the jollof thing there. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. So viewers, thank you very much for joining us today on today's show. It was an exciting time with Mr. Kazim, and we do hope you had enough of fun and information gotten from this show today. We don't want to end this, but we have to end it. All right, we have to end it. We'll be back again next time.
And once again, to our wonderful viewers, to continue to join us on this amazing, fantastic, informative journey, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Insight by Oryx. Until next time, we are really looking forward to seeing you again. Until then, take care. Goodbye.